name is Ruan, and Martha's spent some time in Europe and she's on her way back, so helping out just in facilitating the conversation today. It's great to have everyone on the screen. Last week we had a great demo from Nicholas, just in a specific type of flow using the Alis CLI for agent developments and showcasing some things there. I think what we've seen is more and more an uptake of coding harnesses that people are making use of, and the likes of James, Jerry, and co. being able to build software without having to know all of the traditional kinds of things. And I think the Alis CLI is positioned quite well to plug into the coding harnesses, and we're really trying to meet people where they're at in that. And very excited for today's demo and walkthrough. I'm going to hand over to Nicholas now just to chat through different things. I think as Martha shared in the email, we're going to have one person share that, walk through it with Nicholas, but everyone else, anyone should be able to follow as well on your side. We encourage that, get an experience yourself, and you'll be able to ask any kind of questions in the Q&A functionality or drop a message in the chat here, so we can pay attention to that as we go along. Cool. Nicholas, over to you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks Ron for the intro, and welcome everyone, those who are returning and those who are joining for the first time. Just to reiterate what Ruan said, last week we really enjoyed the session from our side. We hope you did too. And we walked through the entire sort of TUI flow of what it looks like to use our Alis TUI to guide through an actual agent deployed to Google Cloud. So on the Alis Build platform, we're taking care of all the really difficult, sort of challenging things with getting your Google Cloud infrastructure and your agentic applications deployed. And the TUI and those flows that we've built alongside that is really making that sort of more seamless and easier. And today's session, as Ron mentioned, is really to lean more into the agent harness side of things, and so show how that's becoming even easier through some of the new work that we've been doing. So that kind of sets the scene for what to expect for today. We're going to make that delivery really exciting through another agent demo. So for those, again, who attended last week, it was a nice sort of demo, practical flavor to how we sort of showcase these things. And today is no different. We're going to go through a really nice demo, and hopefully everyone can participate and sort of get your sort of Alis Build and Alis agentic AI chops, really honed and getting some agents deployed, which will be really exciting. So before we get into the actual crux of the demo that we have in store for today, I want to just do a little bit of orientation of what's kind of updated, what's changed on our Alis Build offering since last week. And so just going to sort of pause on that a little bit, just run through a couple of things, and then naturally from that we'll move over into our demo for today. So I'm just going to share my screen quickly and bring something up. So so last week we looked at the TUI side of things, and the distinction that I really want to try and make clear today is there's a couple of sort of tools in our tool chain at this point as part of the Alis ecosystem, and I want to make clear what those different tools are. So we've got our TUI, we've got the Alis CLI, and we've got our coding agents. So whichever one you prefer, you've got your the Claude, your Codex, etc. So the Alis TUI, all of them serve different purposes, and so the Alis TUI is really geared towards Alis Build, Alis builders building on the platform, and the audience there is human. So going through being able to view your products, view your different services, run, define, the build, sort of deploy workflows, etc. The audience is really the human. When we talk about Alis CLI, which is similar but different from the TUI, we're talking about a command line interface that's geared towards the machine audience, i.e. these agents. And the TUI and the CLI map each other, one for one in terms of functionality. So we're really talking about, who is the audience for these different tools. So I'm going to bring up quickly just to make that, distinction very clear. I've got two sort of screens up here. And on the left-hand side is my TUI. And so this is the human, as I mentioned, the human sort of interface geared towards humans. I can see my organization. I've got my Alis organization, and I can go into that and see all of my products, right? The exact same thing can be achieved on the terminal side, or the Alis CLI side, by just running Alis help, and then you get all your terminal commands. Now, this is not necessarily intended for you as a human to go and run. This is intended for your agent harness, which I'll get to in a second. But effectively, anything you can do on the left-hand side in your TUI is possible through the CLI. So if I wanted to go and view all my products, now I'm in the Alis. Alis, let me go into my GE product. If I wanted to go and view now, say, all of my services in there, so I can go Alis service, Alis product help, get some help there. I want to view my product, so alis.ge, and the response I'll get from that will be effectively what's visible on the left-hand side. So again, just reinforce the idea, these are under the hood, the same sort of tool, the same functionalities, etc., being exposed. It's just who's the audience for these things. The left being the user flows, the right being for your agents. Why a CLI and a TUI? Like the CLI is obviously, like running CLI commands is a sort of a code generation problem, if you talk about in terms of the context of your agents. And these agents are extremely good at writing code natively and generating CLI commands. So the combination of your agent harness, Codex, Claude, etc., with these CLI tools allows your agent to effectively run the processes and the flows that you as a human would have done in your TUI, but accelerated, done automatically for you. You don't necessarily have to sort of think about these things or do every step manually. So that's why the two different offerings, but practically two very different audiences. Maybe sort of keep the questions coming. We'll obviously cater for those as we go along, if there's any questions around this distinction not being clear. So another feature, just something that's to keep in mind, that we've brought in over the last couple of weeks, since we last sort of had this session, and super relevant for today and super relevant for those of you using your agent harnesses to build an Alis build platform, is the concept of skills. So skills, for those not familiar, skills are effectively the sort of procedural knowledge for agents that guide agents into certain workflows, etc., like how to do the task that we care about. So, for example, if you need to do a code review of something, doing that properly is a skill that a normal software engineer would have. Like an AI agent is not necessarily optimized or steered for exactly how you think about doing a code review. And so putting down something like a skill is how you give that agent the ability to steer a code review in the way that you prefer, and like the sort of following that procedure. It's almost like a recipe for what you want done. So skills are a big deal for these agent harnesses, and all of the different agent harnesses, Claude, Codex, etc., sort of have native integration with skills. And in your agent sessions, those can be surfaced and sort of steer your agents in the right direction. So given that Alis Build is obviously like a software development platform, we rely heavily on producing really great skills for making that experience feel seamless and very easy to build good software. Sort of like deploying all your deploys, you're defining your building across the platform, how you develop agents, what's the best sort of practice with regards to building out a front end, etc. All of those things fall in the category of skills that the Alis Build platform make available natively. There's a couple of sort of entry points when we talk about skills, and we'll sort of unpack them in the coming weeks as they become sort of GA available. But there's a couple of entry points for where skills can be created from. So number one, our Alis platform supports and provides out of the box a set of Alis Build provided skills. And Another sort of category that we're introducing is code blocks. So when one ships code blocks, so code blocks are effectively packaged sort of best practices of certain code patterns. And currently we're making it available that code blocks can ship with a skill attached to that. And then once that gets sort of shipped to the code block registry, that can be made available in the sort of skills view, which I'll show in a couple of seconds. We'll get to that. And then the third is your own personal skills that you want to share, either use yourself individually or share across certain team members that you'd like to share that skill with. So skills are a big deal, and so we're doing a lot of work around making that sort of really easy and really seamless to interact with. So skills, the way to reach skills in your TUI flow is just Shift S, and what that brings you is a really nice search experience around all the skills that are available. So this will be the combined set of skills that the Alis platform provides, all of your code blocks that you have available to if they're shipping any skills, and then all your user or team shared skills that are here. And effectively it becomes like, I need help with something, I want to do something, I want to achieve something on the Alis Build platform, I want to build something. How would I normally do that? I'd go and reach out to someone that has a particular skill and knows how to do that. And it's kind of no different. This is almost like your catalog of things I want to be able to do. I don't necessarily know how to do them. And so this is where you come to find those skills. So you can obviously do a search through, I want a front end, or I want to build an agent. So build an agent, all the skills that Alis builds, the platform, etc., we make available will all be visible here. And then you can actually start plugging those into your actual coding harnesses and benefit from those skills. So if we just look at sort of just picking one here, an ADK add tool skill, just as an example, if you select that, you can, for example, preview the skill. So I can see like, what is the skill actually all about? So is this something that I think is going to be valuable? I can sort of have a read. These skills are just in markdown files, so they're readable and accessible to both humans and machines. And so you can get a good preview on whether this thing is sort of useful for me. Also, you can go and install the skills to your particular harness. So there's kind of two forks in the road here in terms of the way to think about skills. When we go to our harness flows, the default mode you want to think about is not necessarily having to come here every single time you want to do something and search for skills. Our coding harnesses and the Alis CLI have sort of baked in functionality and CLI commands to be able to search for skills dynamically for you. So whenever you are engaging with your agents, etc., just say like, Alis, help me do X. And if we can surface the right skills for you, that can be done on the fly. But sometimes you might, there might be skills that I rely on this skill every single day. It's almost part of every single workflow of mine. I want this, to be by my side, like alongside my agents, every session I start up. And so the install to Claude Code, and we'll roll out for other coding harnesses as well, will then just go and make that available, on a permanent basis until you decide to change that or uninstall that from your local environment. And then all your sessions from that point onwards will have that skill available. So we really cater for total flexibility as to how you want to, set up your local environment, what works for you. And you can obviously configure that on a, per project basis. I want these skills here because I'm working on this, or I don't need those now, and etc. So yeah, so that's just sort of an orientation of skills. Again, if there's any questions, at least any questions around what I've just said, please sort of include those in the Q&A. If there's questions around using these skills or any functionality for that matter around the TUI and what we're going to cover today, again, just reinforcing, we've got the feedback functionality built into the TUI. So that's just F, really simple, and then you can just start a new thread, and you can talk to one of the team members and create a new case and raise something with us, and we can take that on board. And included in our next rollouts, or help you along that way. So yeah, I think hopefully I hope that sort of clarifies a couple of things, TUI versus CLI versus agent harnesses, and then the whole skills flow that we've introduced over the last 2 weeks. So I think with that being said, I'm going to move over into what we have in store for today, the demo, which is going to touch on almost all of these things that we've just discussed, and going to be very practical. So hopefully that cements some of these things and makes it quite clear. Before I do start, I want to just point out another feature with respect to feedback. So I'm going to just use one participant today. So Rob Gouldy is kindly offered to be a participant for today's demo. Of course, everyone's welcome to follow along, and encourage you to do so. What I will ask is, if you are following along and you run into any problems, or sort of, I told the agent to do this, it didn't do that, or it went off in its own tangent, something doesn't feel right here, please use the feedback functionality. We've introduced some really nice functionality to help sort of get things, get as much context from you as possible. So one of the new things that we added for feedback, so F for a new session, just say I'm having some trouble. I'm going to send that. And if you are in your active session with your preferred coding agent, you just come here, click T, and that's going to open up all of your active sessions that you have with your current coding agent. So whatever coding agent you're using, Claude Code, Codex, etc., it's going to open up that. You just enter to attach it to us, and that's going to send that actual session to us. We have that context. We can see exactly where things have gone wrong, where the agent is sort of being missteered, and then we can in turn optimize on our side to allow that to be more seamless going forward. So please, if you are following along in the background, please make use of the feedback feature. It goes a long way in helping us sort of make this experience and sort of the accuracy of these things a lot better. All right, so I think with that, let's get into the demo. So Rob, I'm going to call on you in a second. Maybe you just want to get your screen shared up and ready in the meantime. And then while you do that, I'm just going to quickly show what we're actually working towards. So we wanted to make today like really fun and engaging, and hopefully get everyone to really get the feeling that how easy it actually is with Alis Build, getting your agents, these production level agents deployed to Google Cloud and actually starting to use and engage with them. So the way we've done that is we've set up a bit of a challenge and encourage each and every one of you over the next 2 weeks to try and participate in that challenge, and see how far you can take your agent building skills, your Alis Build skills, etc., forward, and sort of see what you can achieve in the next 2 weeks. So this is what we.
Nicholas, I'm just going to interrupt you. I saw James raised his hand.
Oh, and to reiterate, there will be a prize. So at the end of the 2 weeks in our next Builders Exchange, we'll announce the winner, and that winner will get some form of gift card style prize. So make your agent great, win the quest, and get the reward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, thanks, James, for that. Yeah, so definitely, big incentive to go ahead and number one, build some really cool stuff using Alis Build, get it deployed on Google Cloud, sort of really get get an agent deployed. It's a lot with Alis Build. It's really a lot simpler than what it sounds. We make that really easy, as you're going to see today. And so this is what we're working towards. So we've built an agent arena, and effectively what we're going to get to is everyone who participates in this through Alis Build, you're going to be deploying your very own little agent champion that's going to compete in this arena. And the idea is that your little agent is going to be, once you've registered onto our arena, is going to be subjected to a number of challenges. And these challenges range and vary from, really entry level, sort of almost like health check style tasks to a little bit more difficult tasks as the challenges go. and you'll be rewarded points to your agent as you make your way through these different challenges. You can attempt it as many times as you'd like. So, there's no harm in iterating. And in fact, that's actually the idea. Iterate, deploy, try and get a sense of where your agent is, and see how far you get. And it's really testing like fundamentals of agent building. So things like tool calling, agent skills, giving your agent a skill. Can your agent reach out and sort of retrieve current world knowledge? And can your agent actually solve problems that aren't, reasoning problems, but like that needs to be solved through a coding challenge, for example. So it's real things and real components of agent building that are super relevant. And so, really encourage you to give a go to this sort of challenge. So this is what it's going to look like. So we effectively, at the end of this, you're going to get your agent URL, and then we're just going to register that onto the arena. We resolve it. Oh, I think I've misspelled it. We resolve it. It's going to pick up your agent card. So all A2A agents ship with an agent card. So it's effectively like the business card who tells everybody in the world, this is who I am, this is me. So we can pick that up and then enter the agent into the arena. And so the agent is now being run against a standard sort of set of tests and challenges that we've set up in the background. And so, my agent at the moment is at best a wandering novice, and it can do a simple greeting, can do a tool invocation, but the rest of it, I haven't yet actually configured and built my agent out to achieve these things. So that's what we're going to get to today. Anyone following along today will, at the very least, have this challenge complete. That's kind of the out-of-the-box version. So that's where we're at, and then encourage everyone to continue from that point onwards. So let's get started. So Rob, you are sharing your screen. Awesome. Okay, so we were in TUI land over here, and so I'm just swapping over now to my VS Code, and Rob's got the same. He's sitting in Cursor. So for those of you using Cursor, this is equally relevant. In fact, it's sort of IDE agnostic because we're running through our TUI and our CLI. So the first thing that we want to do is, so I'm in my product that I've chosen as my sandbox product for today. Obviously, use any product on your side that you are happy to deploy our agent into, so just select on your side for those following along whatever makes sense for you. It doesn't matter too much where you're putting this down. So the first thing we want to do, similar to what we did last week, is we want to establish a new service. So the first thing when we want to add a new feature or like a new agent to our project or a product or a system that we're building, we want to create a new service. So creating a new service is just Shift+. Again, just a reminder, the shortcut keys are on the left-hand side, Shift ? You can see all the shortcut keys there if you need that still. Eventually, it becomes sort of second memory. We create, Rob, are you following along all right, Tim?
Yeah, thank you.
We create a new service, and then I'm just going to call mine demo.v1, and then create. So now I've got a new service that I've created. New service. So now just just lowercase t, and that's going to then open up a terminal to the side, and that's going to bring me directly into my demo v1 service. So this is sitting at the right level, at the right directory point. So why this is relevant and why this is important, the Alis CLI is actually it's context aware. So when the Alis CLI is running, it's able to establish when it's running inside any Alis.build folder. That's obviously the standard folder that we standardized the Alis build platform. All your define, your products, etc. Sit on your local machine within that folder. So anything within the Alis.build folder, our Alis CLI is context aware. And so this really makes the process of working through anything you're doing as part of your agent harnesses that are using the Alis CLI tool. It knows, for example, what product am I in, where what is the directory where my proto files are sitting, what package am I in, what environments are available given the product that I'm in, and what are their like IDs, so I can reference them and run automated sort of processes, etc. against them. So it really makes a lot of sense, and you're sort of incentivized to be working, when you're working in a particular service, work in the correct folder, you get the most out of what the Alis CLI has to offer. Of course, it would be possible to do it outside of it, but then you're not going to have that context, and the agent's probably going to prompt you for, okay, I don't know this, what is it, etc. And so you're really going to be a lot more efficient if you run it in the right directory. Right. So what we're going to do is just start up our favorite coding harness. In my case, I'm going to be running Claude. Rob is going to be running Codex. So again, this is not a sort of agent harness specific thing. Any coding harnesses today, Claude Code, etc., can work with the CLI, and that's it's a model agnostic agent agnostic tool. So I'm just going to start a new session here with Claude. Rob, if you are good on your side. Okay, and then Rob, we're just going to ask like Alis, I want some help building an agent. So we're just asking Claude, I want to build an agent. Super open-ended question without the right context, etc. I mean, if you were to ask any coding harness outside of the Alis build ecosystem, not with being context aware, etc., that would be extremely open-ended question. You'd likely be taken down, a lot of different paths, etc. But because we sort of in the Alis build ecosystem, that really sort of triggers a lot of things behind the scenes. But the idea is that there's guardrails, there's context, and everything's being steered towards a more efficient experience. This is going to, so the agent is effectively now trying to establish context. So it knows where it's running. You see, it understands where it is. It's in the aliscz.demo.v1 directory. And now it's understood that, okay, user wants to build an agent. A recommended starting point for that on the Alis build ecosystem, given that it's sort of gone and searched for, how do I help this user? It's gone and done a look for, the kinds of agents that are available. So it's come up with a few. So we want to actually install the agent arena code agent. Like this is what we want help with. So this is the arena. So the arena agent is the one that we need for today. So I'm going to go select that. What's really nice with these coding harnesses nowadays is when you're presented with a set of decisions to make or a list, they're sort of automatically doing some structured output for you, so you can actually navigate through a list of options in a nice way, as opposed to having to say I want option 1 in text. So that's actually really, really nice. And again, I'm just pausing here. So the agent's wanting to run Alis context. So that's it. Trying to establish more context around the environment in order to go and achieve this, achieve the goal of deploying and building the agent. So what's happened, this is going to run a little bit. So when we asked, okay, so again, it's just surfacing for me what context it's found, just that, reassuring me as a human. This is where I'm working. These are the sort of the assumptions and the context I'm working with. So that gives me at least sort of like a bit of confidence that it's not just going on a tangent. It's working where I intend it and in the context that I believe it is. And now it's actually prompting me to install the Arena agent. So earlier on, I selected the particular sort of the particular agent path, i.e. skill that I was interested in making use of. And so now, as part of that skill, the coding harness is directing me through actually installing a code block into my service that I just created. So yes, install it, and let the aging harness take the lead again. Yes, and don't ask again for blocks. So just in this session, I'm happy to give my agent autonomy to go ahead and run the Alis CLI commands under the hood. So this is really at this point I can go and, I don't know, either go and work on another service I'm developing, so I can multiply my effective output effectively. So I don't have to be here necessarily all the time waiting for this. I could be jumping between different windows, different IDEs, different services that I'm building. So yeah, really getting that multiplier effect of not necessarily having to be there and having to do everything manually. So that's a nice added advantage of working with these coding agents. And everyone talks about like the 10x engineer these days, and this is effectively the mechanism of achieving those things. So so as I'm going along, I'm just allowing the agent more and more autonomy to run through what it's doing. But so it's actually gone now and installed the code block. So I've literally done almost nothing practically in terms of fiddling with files or anything. But here in my demo, we're on vService. Here's my agent code. Here's my infra. Everything's been put down for me. Everything's sort of totally automated. And as you saw, I'm not doing anything else. So all of that's been automated by Alis Build under the hood and the agent skills. Okay, now it's just asking me for what would I like this agent to be called. So this is in the end we're wanting to get this agent deployed to the arena, and so we want to have some identifier of Nicholas. This is Nicholas's agent, so I'm going to carry on and call my agent Nicholas. Rob, are you still?
Yeah, all good to start. Thanks.
Awesome.
Rob's leading it, Nicholas?
Too much. I'm doing too much talking then. So
it's like Nicholas has obviously got, for the purpose of the call, everything on manual mode. You could also like auto mode it and stuff,
exactly. So for example, like the agent prompted me like, what do you want to call your agent? And I said Nicholas, and now the skill is guiding the agent. Okay, well, to have the agent eventually deployed under the name of Nicholas, there's some changes that need to be made. So it wants to make an edit to my info file. So I'm going to say, yes, allow edits in the session. And there, my info, I'll just bring that up now. So this is the first time we're actually touching the file explorer to actually see what's being done. And there, my app name's been changed to Nicholas. So I haven't done any of that. All thanks to Claude. And okay, now wants to do some sort of Git things. So obviously there's some changes now in the Git work tree. So let's just see, has my agent been behaved and gone and committed that for me? So you obviously want, like it's very nice to have these things automated. You don't have to necessarily watch and approve everything, but ultimately as the person putting down, you want to be responsible for what is being put down and understand at least and follow along with what's being done. And so I've caught the agent out here. It's wanting to run a define already when it hasn't actually gone and made the changes, but that's probably okay. That's probably okay because it's fine because it hasn't built yet. So let's just keep an eye on the agent that it actually, before it goes and builds, that it goes and commits those change files. So for now, define is okay. So yes, I'm going to allow for define. Rob, are you miles ahead of me?
No, I'm nearly there.
Okay.
Going to be defining now.
Okay. So this can sometimes take a little bit. Maybe in the meantime, I think it's worth, like, this is obviously like the fully automated version of this, and it really helps with parallelizing your efforts effectively. But all of this, to whatever level you feel comfortable, all of this can be done in combination with a harness and your TUI. Like, for example, if I didn't feel comfortable at that point, so I'm going to try and talk and do things at the same time. If I didn't feel comfortable at that point with my harness running the define on my behalf, I've got the TUI on the left-hand side open here, and I can, sorry, let me just do that. I've got the TUI left open on the left-hand side here, and I could just as well go and, go to my service and click define, and off it goes. There's no sort of, effectively gets to the same thing. So you can really, customize your workflow as to what you're comfortable with. There's no necessarily prescribed way that because you're working with the agent harness now, you have to do everything. Like everything has to be done through the agent harness, whatever you feel comfortable with. And a hybrid of those two might be the best for you. Maybe you love YOLO mode and you just say go for it. So find what works for you. For today's purpose, just letting the agent do it. Just trying to really make clear and highlight the agents can really do almost all of this for us. So it's built now, and my agent did behave. As we can see, info.go is no longer registering any changes. So the agent did pick up that there were some changes made, and committed those before it proceeded to build. I want to point out that also, as you see here, the go.mod and the go.sum files are there as well. So again, part of the CLI, and it's probably something we missed, but under the hood, as part of the CLI, the harness also would have run, install the latest packages. So that's, again, sort of a functionality that, okay, finally we're ready for deploy. Again, that's a functionality that the harness can now do for you because that's made accessible via the CLI. So it's with Alis packages is the namespace where that's possible, and then you can update. So that gives the agent harness the ability to run your Go mod tidy, etc., with all the really nuanced and complicated Go proxy, etc., all for you. So we're pretty much almost there now. So we're on the deploy step, and again, the only thing that I've actually done or like verified myself was just checking that my name was put there properly. So we're pretty much nearly there now.
Sorry, my agent went a bit rogue, but it self-corrected.
Okay.
So
okay. So my agent was conservative. So I see that what flagged for me here was it's trying to run Alis deploy again. I was like, okay, well, why is it doing that? But I see now that it first ran a deploy with a plan flag. So the CLI, it's not all or nothing. The CLI also offers the ability to run the plan just like you would from the TUI, sort of the lowercase d versus the uppercase, etc. So if you want to script or write skills that are more conservative, etc., you can steer your agent towards the type of behaviors that you prefer. We do have hard locks on requiring human approval for production environments. So this would not have been allowed if it wanted to automatically deploy to a production environment. We would have blocked that. And so that's these built-in guardrails, etc., that you want in place when you're doing these flows. So I'm going to just, sorry, instead of talking, I should have done that. So
who of us always plan before we deploy?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like it's
so in this case, it's a safer gig than a human.
Yeah, exactly. So people talk about agents being unsafe. In this case, the benefit of the doubt is definitely in favor of the agent. They were more conservative than I probably would have been in the scenario. So figure out what works for you. So we're really close there. Rob, have you sort of managed to steer things back again? You good?
Yeah, it's managed to build. So just
okay, you're building.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe like Nicholas, Rob, while it's building, like something went wrong. You used the word it went rogue, whatever. So
yes.
that's a kind of example. If you go on the left, you press F for feedback. Can we just while it's on? F for feedback. You can press any F anywhere, and say open a new feedback.
There, plus.
Plus, you press plus, and it's like literally what you said now. Agent went rogue, and just that, send it. And then T for share the transcript of the session of the agent. So if you press T, and you pick the last one, the active one, you send it. You can always look at what's being sent. It's basically an attachment. So it's like complete. Now this will allow us to actually improve the skill of agents. That makes sense. So that's sort of flavor. Yeah. So if anything feels weird, out of line, whatever, yeah, please submit feedback. It should take less than a minute.
Yeah, and Rob, yeah, while you did that, then yeah, so mine is completed successfully. So because everything was skill driven, so this entire flow that just happened now was based on skills, and I've asked it to, and everyone following along at the end of reaching this point, you would see the same. I've asked it to give a little bit of a breakdown of the agent. So obviously the code files are there, but you can just give a bit of a breakdown of what's all there. So what's actually sitting here, we've deployed a Google Vertex AI reasoning engine. So that's driving our sessions. So to have like persisted sessions when you deploy to cloud, you require Google Vertex AI reasoning engine. So that's been deployed for you. We've also got the actual, like, all the instructions of the agent, what model we're using, etc. So this is kind of the base blueprint for the baseline version of the agent, and from here onwards you can go and actually like augment and extend this. So what it's given us right at the end here and so to incentivize everyone to get to this point, I'm not going to share, or I suppose you could get this, but this URL here. So this is this URL here for the actual arena. So that will get you here. So I'm just gonna refresh again, and just to sort of prove to you that what has been deployed is actually what's intended to be. So I'm just gonna grab down here. So demo. So this is my URL. Rob, how are you looking for deployed? Is yours deployed?
Yeah, deployed. Thanks. I'm going to copy the URL into now.
Okay. So I just grabbed my current. So this is demo v1. So this is exactly the service that I just deployed, my demo v1, and .well known, and an agent card.json. So it's the standard A2A agent card. Enter the arena, and off it goes. So this is in the call while we've been chatting. This is like live, the exact agent that we just built. Our agent harness built for us actually, and there it is. So I can submit it to the leaderboard, and there I'm sitting with 5 points, and took 14 seconds to run through all the challenges. So yeah, that's it. So Rob, let's see if we can get you on the leaderboard. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you go.
So there we go. So Rob, okay. So that's it. That's how easy it is to get your first. Oh, apologies, I'll stop sharing. But yeah, so that's how simple it is to get an agent deployed on Alis Build. So that's a full-on agent using agent development kit. So Google's sort of production recommended framework for building an agent. There's nothing sort of playground about it. It's a proper, fully production ready agent deployed on Google Cloud Run. It's got all the, the IAM, the security, etc. built around it. So this is a proper agent that's sort of ready to be put down in your systems, in the sort of products that you're building. So I think maybe open if there's any sort of Q&A that we maybe want to raise in the last 10 minutes that we have. Otherwise, maybe Jan, James, if any sort of comments or anything you want to share in the last 10 minutes, sort of maybe where what to maybe expect in the coming week or two, or anything that we haven't covered today you want to cover.
Mainly ready, set, go, and try and win the leaderboard. We might have to make it if everyone maxes out the points, we might have to introduce some tiebreaker kind of additional challenges to the quest. So stay tuned for those. We'll communicate them, but it'll be a nice sized gift certificate, and we'll have an opportunity to kind of showcase next time on the Builders Exchange. So go for it. And if you're getting stuck or you want some help improving your agent, press S for support or F for feedback. That's a quick way to get Nicholas to give you a helping hand.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nicholas. Rob, thanks for your participation there.
Thank you.
So any questions from anyone? I think this is the kind of approach that I would also really enjoy.
It's also a great opportunity for any build related questions, any like voice of the customer, anything that you'd like us to be focusing on or improving over the coming week, or just anything that you'd like to discuss with the broader community before we close the meet.
Maybe just a question I had, Nicholas, while you were speaking through it, and then I'll hand over to George as well. But you showed in the TUI the ability to add skills, and there was the option to like I can't remember the exact wording, to like pull in the skills, and if you could maybe just make the distinction there. Because as far as I know, your coding harness would, if you say Alice, it will kind of do a search. Is the alternative that it's sort of loaded locally? If you could just make the distinction there.
Yeah. So the day one experience should be just go to your harness and Alice, I want to build an agent. So under the hood, our Alis CLI has got skill search functionality. And so anything that needs to be discovered or can be discovered dynamically will be done. And then, it should obviously surface those skills for you. And then you will be prompted to select which one's appropriate, etc. Obviously, if like that would be a nice area for feedback, because the real point of that flying is that needs to be accurate and precise. So if you find that, Alice, I want to build an agent and it's surfacing skills around front end, like that's something, please feedback so we can, hone in and sort of optimize that search experience. So the default is let Alice do the hard work of finding those skills for you. There could be hundreds, if not thousands of them. And you don't want to be scrolling through a sort of a list of things trying to pinpoint like a needle in a haystack for what you're trying to do. So that's the default. If you are, okay, so that's the one. But the other mode you spoke about is we do support explicitly taking like any of those skills that would be also available through that dynamic search, but having them explicitly put down in your local environment. And practically what that looks like, if you're running Claude, on your local folder, you've got a .claude folder, and in there's a skills folder. And we would go and put that skill down in there. And what that means is every time you start your Claude, that skill will already be there and will be preloaded into your agent's context. So it's already aware before it's even started any tasks. And so if you have cases where no matter what, I don't want to rely on search discovering that thing. I want to be adamant to have that skill alongside me. It's like my go-to for almost everything, or in a particular scenario, I want it there. Like then that's kind of the use case there. And we manage that quite easily. So you can install it, and then an hour later, I don't actually need it anymore. You just uninstall it, and then it will remove it from you. So like very sort of flexible. Does that answer your question? Does that make that clear?
Yeah, that does. Thank you. George, do you still have a question on your side?
Yes, I do. So my question was more of clarity, actually.
Okay.
I realized lately that if I make any proto changes, let's say across 2-3 services, when I run the define, it doesn't apply across all. I need to individually run the define on each service. Is that the current case?
Okay, I mean that's a very good observation. So on Monday's release, we sort of refined those conditional things. In other words, you can sort of shift a question mark to sort of get the gist of it. But the default is it's install. So it will install the latest version package on wherever you put on the server. So if you're in demo v1 and the latest defined is 1.1, and you press I for install, it will install that version of it. U is for upgrade. That will look at all Alis packages for that services and upgrade it. So in other words, like what happens, you to go and define one neuron and another neuron. To your point, now you want to have both in your last neuron. U will go through all Alis build packages and update them in parallel to cater for exactly that use case. Now, the one catch is it's based on the newer packages, the Alis build packages, not the earlier like legacy packages. So if you're on the legacy packages, in other words, the internal .product ID .alis.build /protobuf paths, if you're making use of that, just ask Alis, please migrate me to the newer package setup. And that skill will get you onto the new one. And then from there onwards, you will basically just run I for install if you want one, or U, lowercase u, if you want all the Alis build ones for that neuron. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry, and Jan, just to clarify, neuron meaning a
Sorry.
Any other questions, feedback? Okay. On that case, we'll see you guys in the arena. We hope to see everyone's agents taking things on there. Thanks everyone for joining. And please be like Rona Swanepoel and also invite more people that you think might find this interesting and helpful to join these Builders Exchange sessions. I think it's a great opportunity to get some exposure, and I think also come with questions and your experience leading up to this, so we can learn from each other and see where we can build cool stuff.
Ron, like it's like vibe coding, but with a phenomenal amount of structure. So you can vibe code and give it to somebody else, and like a proper engineer, and they'll look at the things like, yes, look at the API layer, look at the definitions, look at the security. I'm biased, but it's so cool.
It's like vibe coding with Jan looking over your shoulder.
It's like proper vibe.
Always, Kapati calls it, or Andre calls it, agentic engineering, right? It is enterprise-grade, production-level software engineering, just at the speed of your agent harness. Or as a website says something about keep the vibes, but don't break everything in the process. Keep. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Hope you guys have a great day further. Nicholas, thanks again for presenting. See you guys soon.
Cheers.
Bye.